B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. Welcome everyone to our brief session on halachot of Pesach, and halachot, some of the halachot, brief halachot of the Sedder. These are going to be very condensed, obviously, because there's not enough time to go through everything so much in detail, but we did this shiur in order so that people that have never done a Sedder before, or even if they have, but preparations for Pesach are kind of difficult and not to be connected with the Bet Knesset, we always try to do these shiurim so that people are more informed about all of the halachot, all the things that are needed during the Sedder. So with this, we hope that we try to cover as much as possible in order so that everyone will be able to go into the Chag b'kedusha of Tahara with lots of kedusha and purity, and be knowledgeable about all the halachot that are involved within it. I just want to make sure, I'm going to just unmute everyone for a moment, just make sure everyone can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Okay, wonderful. Because we were having some problems before between Facebook and Zoom. I just want to make sure. Can everyone on Facebook hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me on Facebook. Okay, you can hear me on Facebook. Everyone can hear me on Zoom. B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. The shiur is dedicated for the Refuah Shelema of Rafael ben Monavar and Kol Holei Am Yisrael. Everyone that needs a Refuah Shelema, Hashem should give them a Refuah Shelema, Rafat HaNefesh, Rafat HaGuf. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shehakol Nihya B'Dvaro. Okay, quickly, we're going to start. Now, if anyone has any questions while I'm doing this, I am allowing you to unmute yourself, unmute yourself so you could ask that question right away. But I don't think we're going to have that much time for that many questions. So we're going to start with halachot of preparing the kitchen for Pesach, and we'll go through all of those very, very quickly, and then we're going to go into the halachot of bedikat chametz, which is going to be done on Tuesday night, which is tomorrow night. Now, I'm going to do all the halachot, obviously, according to the Sepharadic custom. I'm sure there are those things that we'll mention that I'll try to mention also what the Ashkenazim are, but we're have a minhag to do, but we're mostly going to do those of the Sephardic custom. Now, I know everybody is working very hard to prepare the kitchen to make it completely kosher, preparing the home to make the home completely kosher le Pesach. However, one thing is very, very crucial to know is that, especially this year, that our Chachamim have asked, because of the tremendous importance on keeping our well-being and keeping our energy to 120%, it is very, very crucial for especially the ladies to understand that we only need to get rid of chametz and nothing more. Spring cleaning and things like that, we are so much accustomed to do, it has nothing to do with Pesach. So going underneath places that no chametz could have crawled over underneath, no kazait, at least 27 grams of chametz never probably went there. We don't need to clean these things. We just have to clean the places that we are more frequent at, and clean it as much as we possibly can, and that's that. Now, preparing the kitchen, as far as the gas stove is concerned, let me give a general rule before we go on. General rule of making any utensil kasher for Pesach, this is the general rule, is that the way it is used, that's the same way that it's koshered. The same way it's used, the same way it's koshered. Always remember that. So, for instance, and there are some exceptions to the rule, and we'll mention them as we go on. Number one is you have a pot that you cook things in. You cook your cholent in, or you cook your abgusht in, or whatever it is, and that pot has been used to cook chametz. That pot has to be agala. Agala is when you have a bigger pot of scorching, boiling hot water, and you must dip that pot into the pot of boiling water and then put it under cold water. That's the procedure that it needs to be done, because that utensil has absorbed chametz by cooking within it chametz on the fire. Therefore, it itself has to be, so to speak, cooked with boiling hot water. So most people don't need to do this, Baruch Hashem, today. I'm just mentioning it. You make a bigger pot, and you could fit that pot in, and it's important to know that pot does not, whatever it is that you're koshering, does not need to go in at once. You don't have to make sure, it's not like doing the mikveh, that the entire thing has to be in it at the same time. You could actually dip a part of it in, turn it around, dip the other part of it in. It's just so that the pot itself is being, so to speak, cooked in that boiling water, and afterwards you rinse it with cold water. If someone did this procedure and for some reason we forgot to rinse it with cold water, it is still acceptable. You don't have to go ahead and reboil another pot and dip it again. Now, things that have been used with a keli sheni, which is a secondary hot vessel, which is, let's say, it's not the pot on the table, but it is a metal utensil that was used to pour hot water or hot food, really not hot water, hot food, hot chametz in. That becomes tahor, or becomes kasher, the same exact way, by pouring of boiling water on top of it. That's how you make it kasher. You don't need to take this utensil that you had poured in chametz into and dip it into somewhere. Because it had chametz poured into it, all you got to do is pour boiling water on top of it as close as possible to the actual utensil itself, so the hot water is still boiling when it reaches the pot that you're trying to kasher. Knives. Knives have a special scenario because there are knives. With knives, we cut into food that is spicy, like onions, things like that. Knives also need agala. Spoons that have been dipped into boiling, cholent while it's on the fire because we're stirring our stew or whatever it is. Spoons, forks, things like that. The best way to do it is to do agala, which means dipping it into the hot water. Glass utensils, glass plates, glass cups need no kashering whatsoever other than just washing them thoroughly. According to Sepharadic halakha, according to the Maran, we do not need to do any type of boiling agala or keli rishon or anything like that on glass, even if it's Pyrex. Even if you're using the Pyrex and you've cooked, oatmeal in it in the oven, and it was used as a cooking utensil. It was used to put into a microwave and cook chicken with chametz in it for whatever reason. Pyrex does not need kashering either. It is considered glass, and glass, according to Sephardim, is not boleya. It does not absorb any chametz into it, and therefore all you need to do is just wash it, clean it, and reuse it. We have the same halakha between milk and meat. You could use the same glass cup or same glass plate for milk and meat as long as it's washed in between the uses. That is halakha. Any porcelain or clay utensils, anything like that cannot be koshered. If it was used for chametz, cannot be kosher at all. If it was used for non-kosher, cannot be kosher. That is a rule from the Torah. The Torah says, kli cheretz, anything that is porcelain, anything that is chinaware, it cannot, because it absorbs so much of the taste of the food that it has been used with, it cannot be kosher for Passover. So if you have any porcelain, if you have any clayware, if you have any chinaware that was used for chametz, don't use those for Pesach. How about, this is just, I see a question, how about their caps? I'm not sure what you're asking about. Be a little clear, please. I don't know, the caps of what? If it's a cap of a utensil, meaning the top of the pot, that should be agala also. If it's a pot, it should be dipped into boiling water. If it's something that was used with secondary. The cover of the Pyrex. The cover of the Pyrex, if it was used while something was boiling hot in it, I would say just, if it's microwaved, if you microwave something and it boils with the food, then yeah, okay, pouring hot water on it, boiling water would be the best measure. Other than that, if it's something plastic that you used most of the time with cold things, plastic, then you just wash it and you put it away. If it was used with hot things, it needs to be poured hot water, which I think is going to lose its value. How about drainer? Drainer is something that you're using to drain, I'm sure, your rice. So rice, when you pour it in there, it's boiling. It's considered keli sheni. It's a second-hand boiling water. So what you need to do is clean it very, very well and pour boiling water onto it. If the drainer was dipped into the boiling pot of chametz, then you would have to dip the drainer as well into a boiling pot of water. Someone is asking, year-round china dishes can't be used. Year-round, sure, china dishes can be used. Of course they can be used. But we're just saying that they cannot be interchanged between being used for dairy food and being used for meat food. Or it can't change from being used for regular year-round food to being used for Pesach food. It just, once it's used for one type of food, you cannot do agala, you cannot kasher it and use it for another type of food afterwards. Because once chinaware is bolea, once it sucks into the taste of food, non-kosher food, chametz food, whatever it sucks in, absorbs, it does not give out anymore. Ceramic is the same thing. Ceramic would be the same as chinaware. Slow cookers cannot be koshered. You would have to buy new ones for Pesach. Now, I know that right now we have a problem with mikvaot because of the virus, and many people we can't take our utensils to mikveh if you buy something new. So there is like a b'di'eved thing that you could do, is that you could give the utensil that you want to use. You're not able to take it to mikveh. What you could do is you could give it to a non-Jew, right? So that the non-Jew is the owner of this utensil, but you say, I'd like to borrow it from you for the time being, so that you are intrinsically using a non-Jew's pot, and a non-Jew's pot does not need to go to mikveh. But it is best to just do this temporarily, and once it becomes available, dip it into a mikveh and reclaim ownership over the pot. If there are no more, okay, one more question here we have. What about coffee urns? Please be a little bit more clear, please. I do not know what is it made out of. How does it make the coffee? If it's a keli rishon, if it's something Metal ones for Shabbat. Coffee urns. Oh, the hot water urns. Okay, so regular hot water urns, because if you've boiled any chametz in it, then it's like anything else. You would have to dip it in hot water, hot boiling water. If not, if it's just used for hot water and it never comes into contact with anything chametz, you just need to clean it and reuse it again for Pesach. In some places, the top of the hot water urn is a little flat, and people have the minhag, and on Shabbat they put like kugel on top of it, or like sambuses on top of it for it to be koshered. I'm sorry, to heat up these rugelach or kugel or whatever it is. In those cases, because it was used and it heated up something chametz, then that needs to be koshered for sure. But if it hasn't been used to heat up bread on top of it, touching contact and things like that, and then you don't need to. Hot water urn can be reused as long as you clean it. Can be reused for Pesach as well. Can we do the virtually? I'm not sure what you want to do virtually, but cannot. Meaning giving the ownership to someone virtually. I am not sure. Maybe get back to me later. Message me. Okay, some say you can't use paper plates unless it's paper plates that actually has like wheat products on it. But paper plates for us Sephardim is not a problem, because even if it's any product that was used in there, especially if you've bought it, which I'm sure you've bought it before Pesach, it's patel b'shishim, and it's nothing, no edible product in there for it to be chametz. If you feed it to a dog, I'm sure that a healthy dog will not eat a paper plate. So paper plates are fine for Pesach as well. Okay, that's the kelim. Now, cleaning the oven, making the oven. Okay, 1 second. Ariel Urian is asking, don't we go by Rov Tashmisho? In that case, no, we do not go by Rov Tashmisho. Rov Tashmisho is for something else. Rov Tashmisho is when you want to do agala with something, you go, which way has it been used? The way that it has been used mostly for, whether it's cooking or keli sheni, that's how we kosher it. But we don't say that it was, that chametz was used with it, and because Rov Tashmisho was not with chametz, then we don't need to do agala. Rov Tashmisho means if, most of the time it's used with cold, right? And one time it touched something hot, we don't need like your silverware. You have a silver kiddush cup. If your kiddush cup was always used for cold, then you just wash it with cold water and that's it. Now one time somebody poured, something ash in it or whatever it is, you still could use it by just washing it with cold water, because most of its use was with cold water. But we do not say that you don't need to kasher it at all whatsoever, because most of the time it was used for something kasher lePesach and it wasn't used for chametz. I hope that was clear. We really do need to go on. Okay, a stove. A stove, basically it's very simple, Baruch Hashem. A stove, the stove tops, because they're always so heated, they do not really become chametz per se, because it's always used with fire, and any food that drips onto the stove, metal bars on top of the stove, is pigam anyway. It becomes destroyed right away. So, but we do need to kasher it for Pesach. We do not need to do libun. I won't get into what that is. What we do need to do is just you could even just boil hot water and pour hot water on top of the racks of the stove top, and that koshers it. Obviously, all of this is after it's been cleaned thoroughly of any chametz or any oil residue, after which you could just pour hot boiling water on it. Again, boiling water has to be at contact, not to hold the pot too high up, but hold it as close as possible so that the boiling water that's really reaching the surface is still boiling. And obviously make sure, or not obviously, make sure that the surface that you are koshering is dry at the time, because if it's wet, that water is probably cold, and by contact with the hot water, the boiling water will drop in degree of heat. So make sure that it's, interestingly, it's also best to make sure that we always start from the bottom. When we want to kosher something, we should always start from the bottom up, because when you're koshering something that's long and you pour the water from the top, the water that's reaching down, that's already cooled off. So the bottom of that, whatever utensil is you're koshering, doesn't really become kasher lePesach because it hasn't had contact with boiling water. And then the water that you pour on it, if you get down there, is already cooled off by the water that was on the utensil itself. So always go from bottom to top. So our sinks, for instance, best example of it is our sink. You want to kosher your sink, you pour hot boiling water on it. The best way to do it is do it from the inside of the sink, from the inside to from the depth to the walls, instead of going from the walls to the depth where the water that reaches to the bottom of the sink becomes cooled off. This way, if you do it from the bottom to the top, the bottom is already kosher, then you do the top, and that becomes kosher as well. I'll answer some of these questions maybe later. Okay, so the stovetops you do with boiling water. The oven itself. There is no duration of how long certain things needed to be heated. But however, blenders that was not used, that's not glass, that was used for smoothies or shakes, it can be koshered. But if it was used with anything chametz, blenders, the knife part of it usually could have crumbs and stuff stuck in there. You would have to clean it very well. If the blender was used for anything spicy, like making schut, like making harif, things like that you would need to pour hot water on, even if it's plastic. But if it was something that is just used for cold, you just wash it with cold water, clean it very, very well, thoroughly, and it's done. An oven. Cleaning an oven is also simple. Clean it very, very well from the inside. All the racks, make sure there is no residue of food on the racks. Once that is done, all you have to do is close it up and leave it on for an hour on the highest temperature it has, and that becomes kasher lePesach. If the stove by itself has the option of self-cleaning, that's the best. You could put, you could clean everything inside, clean it yourself, and then put it on self-clean. Once self-clean is done, it's kasher lePesach. Dishwashers, clean it inside as much as you can. Leave it on high and hot water. Let it wash everything out, and it's kasher lePesach. Any residue, because dishwashers also, any residue that's left inside is pegum. It's not food anymore. It becomes garbage. It's compared to garbage, and that's not chametz anymore. However, we do have to clean it. Clean all that stuff from the inside. Once it's cleaned, leave it on high. Let it wash for an hour and a half. From the inside with hot water, and it becomes kasher lePesach. You would be able to wash your dishes in it during Pesach. Sorry, I cannot go back on some of these questions. It's taking very, very long. Maybe afterwards you can message me later. I can answer some of these questions about Haggalah of baby spoons. Okay, so we did the stove. We did the stovetop, we did the oven, and we did the utensils. Anything that you want to kosher with utensils, remember, it's the same way it's used. That's the same way that we kosher them. Okay, now comes Tuesday night. We're going to have the mitzvah of mitzvah of bedikat chametz, searching for chametz. So searching for chametz is very, very simple. Let me just bring the Sefer to the page. Okay. First things first is the time for bedikat chametz. All cosmetics and things like that, if it's non-edible, Sephardim do use them for Pesach. Okay, Zaman Bedikat Chametz is the night before the 14th of Nisan, which this year would be Tuesday night. We prepare for Bedikat Chametz. Bedikat Chametz is very, very important, so everything else has to be set aside for us to do Bedikat Chametz. And it has to be done by Tzet HaKochavim. Meaning the 3 stars, which means if you have Shekiah, let's say Shekiah sunset is about 7:17, 7:40, you already do, but you have to start Bedikat Chametz. Those of you, Baruch Hashem, everybody has Haggadot at home. Every single Haggadah has the brachot of Bedikat Chametz. Every Sidur of Pesach, every Sidur has these brachot. You make the bracha of Bedikat Chametz, and then afterwards you search for the chametz with 1 candle. Now some people are mistaken and they think they have to do it with a torch like a Havdalah candle. That's a mistake. Havdalah candle is wrong. It's not yotze. You're not yotze doing Bedikat Chametz with a Havdalah candle. Why? Because the reason for Bedikat Chametz is simply because you want to look for chametz. And you need to go to the nooks and crannies of your home with this candle. However, if the candle is too big, if the fire is too big, you're always going to be afraid that something is going to catch on fire. Therefore, you're not going to search as you would on a normal basis. Therefore, use a regular candle. In places where you don't have a candle, you could even use a flashlight. You could make a bracha with a flashlight. But best is to keep a minhag avot, which is using the candle. And the bracha of Bedikat Chametz can be found in any Sidur of Pesach. Right here, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al bi'or hametz. Now, the bracha of Bedikat Chametz is not al Bedikat Chametz. Bi'ur means burning of chametz. Now, some people get confused and say, "Oh my gosh, I just made the bracha for burning chametz." Those of us that speak Hebrew, I just made the bracha on burning of chametz, and I only did the search for chametz. No, the bracha is the same, because the bracha that you're making al bi'ur chametz is the bracha you're making on the search and the final destroying of the chametz that we will do the next day. Therefore, the bracha is al bi'ur chametz. Now, someone that is doing the search at home does not need to be the only one doing the search. You could have your kids, you could have your wife, you could make the bracha, have them in mind that they are your shlichim, your adversaries, your messengers, and they're going to help you with the search, and they could go ahead and do the search with you at the same time. Once we make the bracha, this is important, it's like any other mitzvah that we do. During the time that we're doing the mitzvah, we do not speak, because we're still doing the mitzvah. So we make the bracha al bi'ur chametz, and we go on all fours and we search for chametz in all nooks and crannies. We do not need to search for chametz in our clothing with the candle. As long as we've cleaned up those clothing that we know of, especially if you have kids and they have suits, they always have candy and things like that, chocolate bars that they hide from the parents in their pockets. Those have to be checked beforehand. Once you clean the closets and you've done the regular cleaning of Pesach, then when the time comes for Bedikat Chametz, you don't need to go in the closets and search the clothing with the candle. The candle, you go to the normal spots. You do not need to search, do Bedikat Chametz in the Sefarim, in books. You don't need to search all of the books for Chametz either. Other places that yes. we do bedikat chametz. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Make sure you're doing it with a candle and not oil, just in case if someone wants to get an oil lamp and start the search with an oil lamp, that's problematic also because you're going to constantly be afraid that the oil is going to spill somewhere and it's going to mess something up. So don't do it with oil lamp. Just do it with a candle or a flashlight. Okay, after we do the search, again, if you have your sidurim, then we make a disclaimer after we do the search. We're going to make everything hefker, which what we say is anything, any chametz product that is in my possession that I've found or have not found, have destroyed or have not destroyed, shall be batel, shall become like nothing, like the dirt of the ground. We say this 3 times. Again, if you have Haggadot, every Haggadah has this in the beginning pages so that you can follow that through. Even though the next day we make a similar claim, we make it at night as well. Sephardim, we have a minhag according to the Zohar that we take, usually this is a way of getting kids involved as well. This is what I've done in my family for years, that you always take 10 pieces of chametz, like bread. Each piece, this is very important, these pieces should not be big. They should not, even as a whole, the piece that we're taking off from should not be more than 27 grams, a kazait. Because a kazait of chametz is midoraita, is according to Torah law, is asur. We don't want that lingering around. So we take a little piece of bread, about that big, and we cut it into 10 tiny pieces. We wrap them in foil. I would say big pieces of foil so that when you're doing the search, you'll be able to find it for sure. And do like I do, take a piece of paper, and whoever is hiding these pieces, hide them in different nooks and crannies around the house. And whoever's hiding them writes down, number 1, I hid under the bed. Number 2, in the shoe rack. Number 3, and someone hides the 10 pieces, and then you go and look for these 10 pieces. And those 10 pieces are the pieces that the next day we're going to destroy in the burning of the chametz. Now this year, because of the rules of the stay-at-home law and things like that, we do not have fires outside for burning of chametz. We don't have that. Some people don't have a yard. If you have a yard and you could do a little tiny fire, that's not a danger to anybody. I would say don't do it. But if you're going to do it, just make a little tiny fire, and the next day you take those 10 pieces of bread. There is no mitzvah taking the entire fridge filled with bread and burning it in the fire. That could even be chas v'shalom a waste. You don't want to do that. You only take those 10 pieces that you found and whatever other chametz that you found maybe with those, and you burn those in the fire. Now, after that, we say another thing, which is again in the sidurim, which is similar to what we said before. The only addition part is which I've burnt or not burnt, or which I've destroyed or not destroyed. If you're not going to make a fire to do the bi'or hames, easier way is just wet it as much as you can and dispose of it in the sink where it goes into the garbage disposal and it gets destroyed completely, or just destroy it by pouring burning fuel on it or bleach in a way that it's non-edible whatsoever. Even an animal would not eat it. And then when you say kol chamira deikar b'rishuti, when you make it hefker, then it's no longer yours. Some people even say, flush it down the toilet. But I know us Sephardim, especially Persians, we're very sensitive towards, even taking food in the bathroom. It's disrespectful, but that is brought down in halakha also. There are times that, I remember one year, Erev Pessah was on Shabbat, and people had chametz, What are you going to do? You can't take it outside. You can't do those things. So people were told, just flush it down the toilet because it's Isur Deoraita of having bread. So the best thing is to have as little as possible of bread to be destroyed. Number two is many people do not know this. As long as we are selling our chametz, according to the halacha, which is on every website, Netzach has a link that has been sent out for the Netzach community that you can sell. It's through the RCC. You can go on the RCC website. They have a link. Yachat Kolel has a link. You could sell your chametz online. It doesn't have to be in person. All the chametz that we own has to be sold. Once it's sold, you could have barrels of beer. You don't have to destroy it, chas v'shalom. You don't have to waste it. You could keep it hidden somewhere where it's blocked so you don't see it. We shouldn't see it. It should be blocked. It should be marked with something on top of it saying this is chametz. Let's say it's in a closet. And that's it. Until after Pesach, it becomes completely mutar. There is no reason, there's no halacha of completely getting rid of and destroying all of our chametz. If we finished all of our chametz, eating it before Pesach, Baruch Hashem, okay, we did. But if we have bread frozen in the freezer, if we have beer left over from Purim, and it's a lot of beer, and we have whiskey, these things are chametz. There's no reason to destroy them. We just sell them, put them somewhere hidden, and it's sold. And there's no isur whatsoever as long as it is done. Now, what if those of us that have little children, what if after Bedikat Chametz, a little child walked in holding a piece of bread in his or her hand and walked into a room and came out of the room and the bread is no longer there? What do? You don't have to complete another search and go crazy. You could rely on the fact that most children, when they have a snack in their hand, they probably ate it, And if they didn't eat it and it fell somewhere, and if my wife is laughing here because she's thinking to herself, some children don't like eating, but even if the child did not eat it, you could rely on the fact that we made it hefker and we said, if there's any chametz that I found and I didn't found, that's in the declaration that we make. That's included in that declaration. Okay. Any questions as far as the things that I just discussed now? We're going to go further. Okay. Baruch Hashem. So that was... Can we get the shaliach to sell our chametz? Yes, you could get a shaliach to sell your chametz. You tell them, you are my shaliach to sell my chametz, and they can sell it. That's actually what we're doing. If we sell the chametz through the RCC is technically our shaliach. It's our messenger. So you can get another shaliach to sell it to through the RCC. That's also fine. Okay. All right, so now we're going to give some time into doing Be'ezrat Hashem the Sedder, if no one has. Okay, this is a very, very good question, I must say. Thank you for asking that question. Are women supposed to say Shechianu by the candle of Yom Tov? No, Sephardim do not. It becomes a big problem if women do say Shechianu by the candle. Shechianu is said at the Sedder table during Kiddush. And once we make Shechianu during Kiddush, everyone has to have kavanah, especially the women, that this Shechianu that's being said on the Kiddush, during Kiddush, is also Shechianu for the Yom Tov, which is why the women are making it on the candle. The Shechianu is not on the candle, it's on the Yom Tov, it's on the holiday. So the Shechianu that's made then counts. But if the women, by mistake, make Shechianu on the candles, then when the head of the household that's making Shechianu at Kiddush, once they make Shechianu at Kiddush, the lady that has made Shechianu at the candles cannot answer amen to that Shechianu. because that's going to be a hefsek between kiddush and drinking the wine. So the best thing is not to fall into that questionable process and just make shechianu at the table. Listen to shechianu at the table when the head of the household is making kiddush. Someone is asking, is it okay to cover half of the cabinet with paper and use the other level for Pesach? Yes, if the cabinet, if there's no way that the chametz from the cabinet can get into the cabinet that you're koshering for Pesach, if I'm understanding the question correctly, then it's fine as long as chametz can get in. You cover it completely and you put chametz and it's taped up completely, so you're using one level that's cleaned up for chametz. That should be fine. Okay, now we start the Sedder with Kadesh. Kadesh is making kiddush on wine. It is very important. Now I'm going to hold up the Sedder plate for those of you that might have any questions about it, and then later on we'll discuss it again. But this is the Sedder plate according to Sephardim. I'm using this English one. Maybe I'll take a printout also and show everyone later. Not sure, but basically, on the Sedder plate, on the Ke'ara, what we call the Ke'ara, we have, Sephardim have the minhag also to have the matzah on the actual Ke'ara as well. Oh, okay, sorry. I have to answer this question publicly. Do not, I repeat, we do not sell our dishes. We only sell the food that's chametz. Do not include dishes into your sale. That's a very big problem, because if you sell the dishes, if a person sells their dishes to a non-Jew, then after you buy them back, you would have to take them to mikveh again. Because the reason we take dishes to mikveh is because it was manufactured by a non-Jewish company. If dishes are manufactured by a Jewish company, they don't need to go to the mikveh. So therefore, if you sell your dishes to a non-Jew, once the dishes are returned to you, you would have to take it to mikveh. So you have to be very, very careful when you're selling the chametz. You don't have kavanah and you don't put it in the online form that you are selling your dishes. Okay, so on the plate, on the ka'ara that we have on the table, we actually, Sephardim, also put our matzah there. We have to try our best. I know that a lot of people have the minhag of having the matzah separately completely, but we should try our best to have the matzah with the ka'ara itself. And then to the right of that we have the shank bone, and at the bottom of that we have the charoset, which is the haler, and then we have chazeret, which is lettuce, and then we have karpas, which is celery, and we have the betzah, which is the egg, and in the middle we have maror, which is also lettuce. Both for chazeret and maror, we Sephardim use lettuce. That's the best vegetable to use for both of them. Okay, we're going to try to zoom through this. We set up our table for Yom Tov as much as possible, beautify it as much as possible, especially this year. I know it's hard for many of us being home alone, with less of our family, but we have to take this as an opportunity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us. Maybe just, we spend so much time with family and family and family. We forget about family, the inner family. So we should try our best to make the best of it and really have the Seudah besimha, with happiness. Okay. No, we cannot use a pool as a mikveh. Maybe try to contact me later. I've answered that question before, actually. Okay. Now, in this mitzvah, men and women are both obligated in the mitzvah of kiddush, of drinking the 4 cups at the Seder night. This is one mitzvah that the women are graciously also mitzvah, are also mitzvah, they're also commanded to keep. So this time women can't say, why can't I do the mitzvah? However, obviously, a person is yotze just as much drinking grape juice and wine. So women don't have to be drinking wine the entire time, drinking wine, the 4 cups, especially since they're so tired from all the work. You know, one of my Rebbeim, Rav Zev Leff, used to say that we come at the Sedder table and we say, Avadim Hainu, we used to be slaves, and now we are free. This year we were slaves, and next year, now we're free. So Rav Leff used to say that his wife would always say that, yeah, men feel free once the Seder starts, but women can't shake off the feeling of being slaves even at the Seder table, because the workload is so high. And it's very, very true to our Ishot, to our wonderful wives. Yes, you can give something that you cannot take to mikveh. You can give it to, that was someone that was discussed already. You can give it to a goy, a non-Jew, and take it back from them afterwards, and then take them to mikveh when possible. Okay. Next in. We have to make sure that we do not forget to lean on our left. Even if you're a righty, you should still lean on the left, because we have there's a problem that when a person leans on the right and eats or drinks, it goes down the wrong tubes. That's dangerous, because that's where the trachea is located. So we lean on the left and we drink. That's a sign of kingship. We have to make sure that the entire time when we're drinking the 4 cups, we are leaning to our left. Okay, next halakha. Women also, of course, in today's day and age especially, women also lean to the left. There's no problem of leaning to the left for women as well. If someone, by mistake, did not lean, forgot to lean to the left, and took down the first cup or the second cup because we're so excited to have that wonderful wine on Pesach Seder night, if someone forgot, if someone forgot to lean, they should drink another cup right away, right after that. Nevertheless, however, if that person is not that healthy and it would cause them hardship to take another cup of wine, he could just refrain and not. But women, if women forgot to lean, they don't have to. They don't have to drink another cup. Men, if you forgot to lean, it's best to drink another cup, leaning on your left. However, if a person has medical issues, obviously, it might be that if a person has medical issues, they shouldn't be drinking wine altogether. They should just drink grape juice. But if you forgot to lean, you should lean again and drink, unless it's detrimental to your health in any way. Yes, women and girls could say the Haggadah as well. It's considered Torah. It's best to use red wine for the Haggadah. Grape juice, as we said, is also lechatchila accepted for the drinking. If someone will feel ill drinking wine, if obviously if it's doctor prescribed that they shouldn't drink any wine, they shouldn't drink any wine altogether. Okay. One should have somebody else fill their cup of the wine each time. This is also another sign of aristocracy. We want to feel like free. We want to feel the pleasure of living like kings, like princes that we are for Kadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, we have someone else fill our cups for us. However, if you filled your own cup for yourself, you're yotze, right? You shouldn't. One thing I have to mention, the Seder night, it has a lot of rules and regulations. However, the worst thing a person can do on a Chag, especially on Pesach, is to be upset or get mad. That's an isur. That's asur for sure. So things happen. Someone doesn't want to do it like this. Someone doesn't want to do it like that. Fine. We try our best to do everything lechatchila according to the Torah, according to what the Chachamim have ordained. All right. If things don't work out the way we wanted to, all right. We make the best of it. But to get upset, to get mad, that could possibly go into a bigger isur than not fulfilling the mitzvah. Not only we didn't fulfill the mitzvah of Pesach, some of the mitzvot we're doing an avera at the same time. So we have to be very, very careful with that. Okay. For Kabbalistic reasons, we add 3 drops of water to our wine each time. Now, the amount is important. The amount that has to be drunk each time has to be, the cup must be filled with at least a revi'it of wine. A revi'it of wine is 81 grams, which is 3 ounces. There are actually cups that hold just a tad bit more than 3 ounces. And it's preferable that the entire cupful should be drank in one shot. That's the mitzvah. Now, if someone can't drink the entire cup, they should try to drink it as much as possible in one shot, in a few breaths, to be yotze, drinking the revi'it at once. Okay. If this happens a lot, fortunately, if you're in a home, we have to make sure that anytime we make kiddush or any of the things that we say, even the Haggadah, right? Rav Ovadia Yosef mentioned something, Zechat Tzadi Bracha. I was just watching a shiur Rayim today. He said, Rav Chaim Falaji says, if you swallow the matzah, you're yotze. But if you're yotze, you've accomplished the mitzvah of eating matzah on Pesach. But if you swallow the Haggadah, you're not yotze. The Haggadah and the Kiddush, everything is something that has to be said clearly and nicely, besimcha, word by word. We should not be mumbling through the Haggadah. So, how much more so Kiddush? So, when we make Kiddush, we have to make sure we're saying the bracha nice, bekavana, and having everybody in mind to be yotze with us, saying it word by word correctly. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher, or shehechiyanu v'giyamanu v'higyanu. If we know someone that's making Kiddush, and unfortunately they're not so learned, either they don't know the bracha or they're mumbling through it, and I'm saying halacha, and they're mumbling through it, it is best that people that are at the table privately to themselves, without the person mumbling, without the person noticing, making the bracha on your own, so you'll be yotze. Because if the person is just saying the words incorrectly or eating half the lines, that's not the bracha of Hagefen. It has to be correctly said. So I think the best thing is, which I do at my table, we say to people, please, everyone have kavanah, and the person starts making kiddush slowly. If the kiddush is not made slowly and not made in a way that's being heard perfectly by everyone, each person should know themselves that they need to make kiddush by themselves in order to be yotze. Now, when we make shehechiyanu at the table, we have to have in mind that this blessing is to cover eating matzah and the maror, and obviously the Yom Tov itself. So when we make shehechiyanu, I would always say that person that's making the kiddush should tell everyone, I'm about to make kiddush. I have kavanah for everybody. I have everybody in mind. And also, I'm going to make shehechiyanu. Everyone should have in mind that the shehechiyanu goes on the Yom Tov, especially the ladies that did not make it by the candle, hopefully. I'm making it on the Yom Tov. And we're making the shehechiyanu on matzah, eating the matzah, and also shehechiyanu on maror, on the mitzvah of maror. Not eating maror, of course, on the mitzvah of eating maror. Okay, that's mentioned. Okay, right after Kiddush. Now let's say, I know this is difficult. Kiddush usually, the Sedder usually takes a long time. And already probably people coming, to the table are already are already tired and hungry. Can you eat after Kiddush? The answer is yes, a minor amount, like a kazait, and you make, let's say you have rice, you have polo shivit, and you're so hungry, you can't go through the Haggadah. It's best to take some rice, some polo shivit, or whatever it is. You make mezonot right after Kiddush. You eat a little bit. If you ate enough, like a kazait, 27 grams, you make borei nefashot right afterwards on that, and then you could continue the Haggadah. Obviously, it's best not to do that, because realistically the mitzvah is to go to the Sedder on a hungry stomach, so that we could properly do the mitzvah of eating matzah, bete'avon, the way we should, and eating the food, bete'avon. So we should not fill ourselves up. But if someone really, really needs it, then yes, you can eat a little bit, not too much. Obviously not matzah, anything other than matzah. After Kiddush, there's a custom of having hard-boiled eggs after Kiddush, and we declare that this is Zecher lekorban hagiga. And we have a little piece of egg, and we make borei nefashot after it, as long as it was, 27 grams of egg. You make borei nefashot after that, and then we continue. Okay, now after Kadesh is urhatz. We wash our hands. But this netilat yadayim that we're doing is not the same netilah that we do for bread, but it is in a sense the same way. This is not the same netilah we do in the morning. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This netilah that we're making is for karpas, and we do it just like we would do for eating bread, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We make that kind of netilat yadayim, and we do not make a bracha on this netilat yadayim. This netilat yadayim has no bracha. The reason we are making this netilah is because any time we have a food that's going to be dipped in a liquid other than the liquid, if the liquid is not the juice of the fruit, you need to do netilat yadayim, because tum'ah, impurity, is transferred through water. Therefore, karpas, we're going to dip the karafs, the celery, into, some people do salt water, most Sephardim do vinegar. We're going to dip it into vinegar, and when we're going to dip it into vinegar, we have to make sure first to have done netilat yadayim. So the netilat yadayim is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, beli baracha. We do not make a baracha. If someone by mistake made a baracha, we'll get to that. It's good, it's best if a person made the beracha by mistake. It's best for him to not keep his hands clean during the time of the meal and forget about the fact that he made netilah and made the bracha, so that when it comes time, hopefully it's going to take time after magid and everything, so that you can make another bracha again for netilat yadayim for hamotzi. Karpas. It is very important, the piece of karafs. I know everyone's hungry. We're all in the same boat. But it's important that we do not fall into a safek here, because it's a vegetable. When we take this piece of celery, it should be about yay big. Not bigger than that much. So that it's not more than 27 grams. Make sure just to take a little tiny piece of karpas, less than 27 grams. We dip it into vinegar, and we make borei peri ha'adama. And we make borei peri ha'adama, and we do not. It is not necessary to lean, because this is a food that we're dipping into vinegar, and it's showing avdut. It's showing the sadness and the sorrow of Am Yisrael before Yetziat Mitzrayim, during the slavery of Egypt. Therefore, we do not need to lean on our left. And please, everyone has to really make sure, it's really important, all these vegetables that we are eating for Pesach, they must absolutely be cleaned and checked for bugs. We don't want to do chas v'shalom go into Chag trying to do mitzvot, and at the same time, God forbid, do the opposite, chas v'shalom, do averot instead. So make sure that all of these things are cleaned thoroughly before Pesach, of any bugs or any insects or anything like that. So we'll do the mitzvah properly. Yachatz. Yachatz is we break the middle matzah. We break the middle matzah. Now the bigger piece goes and is usually we have the minhag, the children take the bigger piece and they hide the bigger piece. That's the afikoman that's left for later, and the smaller piece remains between the two larger matzot. And we have the minhag that we attempt to make the two sections to form the letters Vav and Dalet. The bigger piece being a Vav and the smaller piece being a Dalet. Let me see if I have a picture here I can show everyone. Oh, open to the page. Ashrenu. Does not have the picture that I was looking for. That's fine. Either way, try our best to get it into a Vav or a Dalet. There's no need to fight about the fact that it did not become into a Vav or a Dalet. That's fine, as long as there's a smaller piece and a bigger piece. The smaller piece stays inside with the other two whole matzot, and the bigger piece is hidden somewhere or put away for afikoman, for later on. Okay, now we go into Magid. The mitzvah of Magid is one of the most important mitzvot of the Sedder night. It is crucial to understand that even the mitzvah is so crucial that even if someone, chas v'shalom, is alone and they have nobody to Magid, to Lahagid, to talk about the Exodus from Egypt to, we have to say it out loud, even if it's just to ourselves. That's the mitzvah of the Torah, to lesaper b'yitziat Mitzrayim, to retell the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, the miraculous exodus from Egypt. So, even though, again, we are hungry, we are tired, and the ladies are tired, but we have to make this the greatest portion of the entire Seder night. And Magid has to take as long as it possibly can. And even after we do Shulchan Orech, even after we've already eaten dinner, Magid should not stop. You know, the Gemara has the tale of the Rabbanim that were sitting down and they were talking about Yetziat Mitzrayim all the way to the wheeze of morning until time of Kriyat Shema. So let's not rush it, especially this year. We really need to talk about freedom. We really need to talk about the Exodus from Egypt. Be'ezrat Hashem, this should be the month of Geula for all of Am Yisrael, eternal Geula Be'ezrat Hashem. So take time to really prepare ourselves from before, so we'll have enough to say about Yetziat Mitzrayim. And then reading the Haggadah itself should be b'neima, with beauty, with patience, asking questions from our children, letting the children answer the questions, and so on and so forth. Okay. One second. And then, so the Magid starts with halachma. So halachma basically, Sephardim have the minhag actually of saying he lahma aniya. So he lahma aniya di achalu avatana ba'arad Mitzrayim. This is the bread of affliction that our forefathers ate in the land of Egypt. We pick up the ka'ara of bread, we pick up the bread and we show it. We pick up the matzah and we show the matzah. This is the bread of affliction that our forefathers ate in the land of Mitzrayim, and we say all the way to Benei Chorin. After which, once we put it down, then the children or ourselves, we start Manishtana. Once Manishtana starts, before before we say manishtana, we refill the second cup. Again, if we all have a Haggadah, the Haggadot always have these things written on them. You follow through, you cannot make a mistake. It says, put the ka'ara down, pick up your cup, cover the ka'ara. Yes, so we refill the cup. Now, this cup, I'm just saying this for all those that are, expensive wine lovers when it comes to Pesach. We like to drink the best kind of wines. For the second cup, it's best to use grape juice because this second cup is the cup that's going to be poured out, which we will discuss when it comes to the makot. When we say the makot of dam Sepharadic kinim, we pour a little drops out of the cup until the cup is completely empty. So, we use grape juice for this one, and then we refill for the second cup, technically, that we're going to drink. You could fill that up with whatever it is that you want to drink. If there are no kids to find the afikoman, again, you could make this for other people to do. Anybody from the family to hide the afikoman. Does not have to be the kids that are looking for the afikoman, right? Again, I have to say, most of the Sedder night is for the children. So we have to do as much as we can to make sure that the children are having, if there are children at the table, Bezrat Hashem, that they are the ones who are listening and they're staying awake as long as possible with us. We've prepared things for them to stay up as much as possible. And we go through the entire Magid, which starts with Halachma. Women also are obligated to do the mitzvah of Haggadah. So we do have the mitzvah that Shomea Ke'oneh, which means the fact that you're listening is like you are saying it. So if there are women or if there are other people that don't know how to read very well, one person says, when I'm reading the Haggadah, follow with me and I have kavanah for you. And it's really, really good to do the Haggadah also. Obviously, the best way to do it is in the Hebrew language that it's written, or the Aramaic, some of it is written. However, once that's done by somebody, it should really be done by in other languages as well, for everyone to understand what is actually being said. The Haggadah should not be begut ha-bochorim. That should not be the Haggadah. The Haggadah should not be, all right, let someone say it really fast so we can bring the food. That's not Haggadah. The Haggadah should be discussions and talking and discussing the Exodus in any language. Okay, we said that. Okay, all right. So we covered a whole lot on Magid. Okay, so after Magid, we have Rochza, which is, hold on, let me just bring it in my Haggadah. Rochza is washing our hands. Sorry. Okay, Rochza, washing our hands. We wash our hands netilat yadayim, like a regular netilat yadayim. Yes, as we said, it's okay to read it in English for the kids to understand. This is for the kids to understand. So it's best for someone to be reading it in the Hebrew and then someone else translate it in English or give it to the kids, even better, to read the English so that they are involved. And then we go to Rochza, we wash our hands netilat yadayim, and we make the bracha of netilat yadayim, getting ready for matzah. After Rochza is motzi matzah, we bring out the matzah. Now, we have 3 matzot, or actually right now we're left with 2.5. There's one in the middle that's a broken piece, the dalid that we shaped into, hopefully we were able to shape into a dalid, and we have the 2 other matzot. What we do is we take them all 3 together, And we make the bracha as follows. 1 second. Oh, by the way, in Magid we also have Dayenu, and I know us Persians, I have not found any other custom like this anywhere in the world. We have the custom of taking scallions and beating each other with it while saying Dayenu. Now, I've asked many Rabbanim that have never seen this minhag anywhere else, but they have all blessed it, because it is truly a beautiful minhag that really keeps not only the kids, the entire family awake right in the middle of the Haggadah. And it's a minhag that's, it's wonderful. So we should definitely keep this minhag to do Dayenu. Let's be very, very careful that it doesn't get out of hand. I know this year, with much less shopping around because of the virus going around, many people might not have been able to shop or whatever, so you didn't have, maybe you don't have scallions, use onions or anything else you could possibly reach for. But again, this is funny and joke, but we have to be very, very careful to keep it in a safe manner. It's all for fun and games, not more than that. Okay. Okay. So, motzi matzah. So motzi is making hamotzi. So we take the 3 breads. Now you have the whole, like so. Okay? This is 2.5. This is 2.5 matzot. Okay? Imagine this is 2.5 matzot. We make Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We make hamotzi. Then we put the bottom one down. Okay? And then we make al achilat matzah on the half and the whole top one. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'sivanu al achilat matzah. Once we make al achilat matzah, we keep these two together. Now, the chiyuv, the obligation of eating matzah, I know I'm talking a lot about obligations. This is why we call it a Sedder night. Sedder means order. It means structure. There are rules and regulations to this structure. It's not just, I'm going to have a piece of matzah and then avgusht. We have to, the best way to do this mitzvah, to have 2 kazetim, 2 kazait, which means 2 times 27 grams, which is 54 grams. Now the best way to do this, if you have a non-electric, I say one more time, non-electric scale, on Yom Tov, it is permitted to use a non-electric scale for the mitzvah of weighing the matzah. So if you have a non-electric scale, you could just put, the matzah in there so that you're not eating too much of it, because I know it gets very hard because it's very rough as well. So you weigh it, it's 27 grams. Best way to do it even is beforehand, you weigh all this stuff before Chag, before Yom Tov, and you put them in Ziploc bags. Each Ziploc bag has matzah equivalent of 27 grams. This way, everyone in the family, as soon as you make hamotzi, you give them one goodie bag, you give them one Ziploc bag with the matzah in it. And then you take a piece from these two, as we said, the top matzah and the half broken matzah in the bottom. You take a piece from both of them, and each person should get a piece from the top matzah and the bottom matzah. And each person should, in order to do the obligation of eating the matzah, doing the mitzvah of matzah, you need to have a minimum of, for this eating alone, 27 grams, which is 1 kazait. The best way to do the mitzvah is to have 2 times 27 grams. But if someone feels they can't do it, it's too much, they won't be able to do the rest of the mitzvah, okay, just 27 grams, 1 kazait would be enough. This year, unfortunately, we were not able to get the soft matzot, the Sepharadic soft matzot. With the soft matzah, it is, and that is, by the way, that is what matzah used to be in the olden days. 100 years ago, that's what matzah was. It was soft. It was like laffa bread. It is hard to find now, but every year we bring, Baruch Hashem, we've gotten from different sources, from Eretz Israel, soft matzah. Every year I've had soft matzah. It's wonderful. With the soft matzahs, they are very, very thick, and each piece, literally that big, is 1 kazait. And you eat just that much, you're yotzeh. Whereas when you have the matzah, traditional, quote unquote, traditional matzah, the dry matzahs that we have now, sometimes a whole piece becomes 27 grams, or maybe like 3/4 of an entire piece of a round matzah is 27 grams. So we have to make sure to do at least 27 grams of matzah. And this eating of matzah should be done at once. It's best not to even talk, and make sure, again, you have to remind everyone to lean on the left. Lean on the left while you're eating the matzah. Okay, and it has to be a kazait. If someone, God forbid, forgot to lean on their left when they're eating the matzah, even though they did not lean, it's okay. You are still yotze if you can't have any more. If you can, it's best to have some more matzah, but if you can't have any more, you don't have to. Now, if someone has a condition where they can't eat this much matzah, right? They won't feel well, it's really, really hard for them, or they shouldn't have too much of it. The minimum amount is, according to some poskim, is 18 grams. So at least try to have 18 grams. If not the 27 grams, try your best to have 18 grams. Wow, we're covering a lot of ground here. One second, kind of just okay. Oh, sorry. I mixed up two different halachot. Once again, I say, if someone eats the matzah, it's important. If you eat the matzah without reclining, you did not do the mitzvah. Sorry. You did not do the mitzvah of achilat matzah if you did not recline. So make sure everybody reclines. But you don't make the bracha again, but you should have another at least 18 grams of matzah to be yotze, the bracha of al-achilat matzah, and the bracha of hamotzi. Okay, again, this is all about structure. So I know in a lot of homes, once it's free for all, once we did netilat yadayim and we made hamotzi and we made al-achilat matzah, what do? We want to make a sandwich, and we want to eat maror, and we want to eat this, and we want the halal. We should not do that, because we fall into a lot of safek. If someone eats korech first, which means if you make a sandwich right now, you take your matzah and you dip it into the charoset, or take it with a little bit of lettuce, it's problematic for next time, because it's like you didn't do any of the mitzvot now because you mixed it up. The first mitzvah is to have matzah with nothing else. If somebody needs to wet their matzah, you can wet the matzah, but not in juice. Only only water. Wet your matzah in only water if need be. You're still yotze if it's a wet matzah, if it's moist, and you eat it. But nothing else. Do not eat it with anything else. Don't put anything on it. If it makes it easier for you to eat, you could put some, ketchup on it or something like that. You can, but don't eat it with the maror or the haroset. Okay. Set that all in water. Oh, if someone is allergic to wheat, you could be yotze also eating matzah that's made out of oats, because that's also one of minei dagan, one of the wheat from the wheat family. Okay. Now we go to maror. Right. Now for maror, also the same thing. Maror, we use lettuce. We'll get to the best part as well. It's just we have to do everything in a structured way. Maror is lettuce, as we used in the past. So also make sure, please, because lettuce has a lot of tolaim, it has a lot of problems with bugs and infestation. All these things have to be cleaned very, very well from before. All these, especially lettuce. If it's not possible for you to clean well and check them to make sure there are no bugs, then just cut the leaves and you're left with the stalk. That's much easier to check and clean. Just eat the stalk of the lettuce. Lettuce also has to be a kazait, which is 27 grams minimum, or if someone is not feeling well, they can't do it, minimum at least 18 grams to be yotze. We take 18 grams of maror, and here's where, again, a lot of people are in a rush for the charoset, for the haler. We only take the maror and just dip it into the charoset, into the haler. We do not dip a shovel into the haler, into the charoset, and slap it onto the maror, because we just can't wait to eat it. Not yet. At this point, it is crucial, it is very important to only eat the maror, just dipped, tap it, and if there is any actually charoset, any haler on it, you have to shake it off so that you only taste the bitterness of the maror, of the lettuce. So we take a kazait of lettuce, we take 27 grams of lettuce, we just kind of dip it into the charoset, and we make the bracha, al achilat maror, and we eat it. Once again, because this is a bitter herb, or we're eating it as the bitterness, we do not lean to the left for eating maror. Okay. All right. Okay, make sure we are actually dipping the maror into the charoset, because if we do forget to dip it, we have to eat it another 27 grams. Okay. All right. Now, korech. Now we go to the mitzvah of korech, maror, korech. So, now, this is the third time we're going to eat matzah. Now, this is everybody's favorite time. We take, once again, how much matzah? 27 grams, a kazait of matzah. And we take a kazait of maror, kazait of lettuce. And here we could technically use more charoset. It's best not to do a lot, but we could use more charoset to dip the maror into, and we make a sandwich of these both. And this is, and for this, we don't make a bracha, but we say, matzah maror belo beracha, matzah and maror without a bracha, zecher la mikdash. This is in remembrance of the mikdash, and in our days should become renewed again, like the Hillel Hazaken used to eat at one time, l'chayema shenemar al matzot umrorim yocheluhu, with matzot amrorim. So we want to do both of them together to do the mitzvah. So we take 27 grams of matzah, 27 grams of maror, and a little bit of charoset, a little bit of haler that's dipped or spread onto it, and we eat and we eat it while leaning to the left. For the sandwich, we lean to our left. Then comes shulchan orech, a festive meal is served. Oh, and sorry, for korech, we bring the third matzah. Remember the third matzah that we put down after we made hamotzi? We put it down. We bring that third matzah and we take pieces from that matzah and we divide it to everyone, and then everyone takes another 20 whatever grams to make the whole thing to be 27 grams, and we make the and we eat korech. Let's see if we have. All right. Shulchan Orech. So we set the table, a festive meal, and we enjoy our meal. Again, it's very, very good to have a meal with Devar Torah and Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim, and talking about Yetziat Mitzrayim as we go on. And then after Shulchan Orech, after we've eaten the entire meal, it is very important. This is very, very important that we do not fill ourselves too much. Why? Because we have to have dessert, which is the afikoman, which the children hid or somebody hid, or it has been away from the table. We bring the afikoman and we give pieces of the afikoman to the people of the Sedder, and we also take another 27 grams. Kazait, we have to have at least three kazatim on the Sedder night. So we take 27 grams of that. Therefore, it's very important not to fill ourselves up during the meal as much as we want to, not too much, but enough to be able to say, because when we eat the afikoman, we say hanechal al asava, which was eaten on a full stomach. This was supposed to be dessert. So dessert is eaten on a full stomach, but not in a way where you're going to feel sick. If you feel sick eating the afikoman, you're not even yotze, chas v'shalom. So we should just leave just a little bit room where you could eat it or not. This is how you feel, and we eat the afikoman. Okay, and we say right before we eat the afikoman, we say zecher lekorban pesach and echal nasava. We say zecher lekorban. This is in remembrance of the korban pesach. It is very, very important not to say chas v'shalom korban pesach. We don't call anything korban pesach, because then it's going to become asur to eat. We have to say zecher lekorban pesach. Like on Purim, we don't say machatzit shekel. We say zecher lemachatzit shekel. This is in remembrance to the machatzit shekel. This is in remembrance of the korban pesach. And then after that, we do. Let me just make sure. As far as the halacha, we did not miss anything. Don't forget to recline for afikoman. We recline during afikoman. If you forgot to recline and you don't have any more room to eat at least 18 or 27 grams, you're still yotze. It's very, very important to make sure that we're eating the afikoman before chatzot, before midnight. We should try our best to do it before midnight, but if we didn't, it is still possible to fulfill the mitzvah, even if it's after midnight. After eating the afikoman, it's we can still have drinks and things like that afterwards. Okay, then we make Birkat Hamazon. We do not forget to make Ya'aleh V'Yavo. Don't forget to say Ya'aleh V'Yavo in Birkat Hamazon. If we missed Ya'aleh V'Yavo, we do have to go back and do the entire Birkat Hamazon again. And then after Birkat Hamazon, we make the bracha on Savri Maranan, and we have our third cup. And we make Borei Peri HaGefen. Kos Yisrael Shem Hashem Ekra. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Borei Peri HaGefen. And we recline one more time on our left, and we have the third cup. After that is Hallel. Hallel is something that the women are also chayavin. So, but they should do the Hallel before Kiddush even. Because in Arvit, we have Hallel right after Arvit on Yom Tov of Pesach. We do have Hallel. So with Beracha. And women should also make this Hallel with the Beracha. And then we do Hallel. And right after Hallel, that we do with Besimcha, we drink one more of the fourth cup of the last cup. And after we drink the last cup, Ezrat Hashem, we make Al HaGefen V'al Peri HaGefen on that. Just to go back on some of the Haggadah, when we poured the second cup, that was not for drinking, we get to Dam tzefardea kinim. We have to be careful not to spill that wine. We spill wine from our cups just a little bit. Dam tzefardea kinim. Also, when we say dam va'esh vetimrot ashan, the Haggadahs show these. We spill just a little bit from our cup onto a place that's not going to spill out. According to Kabbalah, it's very dangerous to have this wine spill anywhere. So be very, very careful that you're going to put it into a place where you're going to be able to dispose of right away in a toilet sink or a sink of anywhere that's going to be washed away. It's very important to do that. And then after that, you don't even need to wash the cup out. After every other one that we drink the cup, we need to rinse the cup one more time and then pour the second or the third or the fourth cup that we're going to drink from. But this cup that we didn't drink from, we only poured out. Once we empty the whole cup, you don't need to rinse it out again. You can just refill it one more time after spilling it out. And the water that's used to clean it, it's best not to get it anywhere. Just dispose of it as soon as possible. Let me see if I didn't miss anything here. I believe. And the most important thing to remember is that your Haggadahs are going to tell you that in order to do the mitzvah of Pesach correctly, all of the mitzvah of the entire Chag is three things: Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. These are the three most important aspects of Pesach. We have to verbalize these three things. Pesach, which was the Korban Pesach that was brought as a Korban, Matzah, that we eat, and Maror, which is all discussed in the Haggadah itself, what significance they all have and why we have to discuss them. I will open the floor for a few minutes now for some questions. If anybody has any questions, if you feel I've missed anything whatsoever, I'm going to mute. Whoever has a question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions. The second 27 grams of matzah is korech, which is when we make a sandwich with maror. That's the second 27 grams. Sandwich time. You're welcome. Okay. I will say one thing that I found that I wanted to share also with everyone at the table, that I thought was very touching. It was beautiful, and I think I might even make this one of my short videos to be sent out, Bezrat Hashem, if I have the time for it. But I think it was Mina Shamayim that I even saw this, because it's considering our times, what everybody's going through around the world, even though it's Pesach, and we really feel so worried and so down and so alone, not being able to be with family. I found a story that was said by Rabbi Yonah Emanuel about the bitter times of the Holocaust, as it was told. The story was told during the Brit Milah of his grandson. He got up and he said that I've never told this to anyone. He had never spoken of this to his wife, to his 7 children, to his grandchildren, no one. Until now that he was the sandak for his first grandchild, actually. And he said on the morning before Pesach, he was in Bergen-Belsen in a what they called a work camp. It was a concentration camp, but it was a physical labor camp. Physical labor meant they had to work as hard as possible, and then whoever didn't make it. And at this time, his father had passed away. His older brother had passed away. His younger brother had passed away, and younger sister, who was named Batya, had also passed away. He had nothing. He came back to his barracks very tired, exhausted, and sad because his mother was very, very ill. And this was Pesach night. And he sat there doing the Haggadah with his mother. And he says, this is in his own words, he got to the part where he says, and so too the Lord, Hashem, our God, God of our forefathers, enable us to reach future holidays, right? And festivals, Beshalom, rejoicing in the rebuilding of your service. As I said these words, and I could not finish the rest of the Haggadah. I simply could not utter the words because they did not feel true to me. That I will see anything good ever again. I will see any more Chagim or Israel. It was so dark that I just ended up Pesach night crying myself to sleep in desperation. I had nothing to look forward to. Then he looks up and he says, if only I had been able to see this day where he had 7 children living in the land of Israel, rebuilding his life with a beautiful family and being a sandak of his grandchild. Maybe if he would have seen just a little inkling of hope of this, he would have finished this Haggadah. And he felt sorry that he didn't finish the Haggadah. Because there's always hope. There was always hope. And we say there are Chachamim that say when we split the matzah, the middle matzah, it represents Yam Suf. Because we take the afikoman, the fact that we put the afikoman away, it represents the Yam Suf. And I found an interesting anecdote as to why. What does it have to do with the Yam Suf? Why is it compared to the splitting of the sea? I understand we're breaking the matzah, but what does it have to do with the splitting of the sea? This was beautiful. It was eye-opening for me. Because what was the opening of the sea? What was the splitting of the sea for Am Yisrael at the time? It was total hopelessness. They had just come out of Egypt, right? And they had the Egyptians behind them, and they had the entire ocean in front of them. They had no hope, nowhere to go. They felt completely lost. But was there hope? Yes. Moshe Rabbeinu told Bnei Israel, we are going to go forward. We have what to look forward to. So the afikoman, that's dessert. That's the hope. The hope we hide for later. After we talk all about the slavery and what happened in Egypt, afterwards we come and we sit like kings and we eat the afikoman on a full stomach. Who eats on a full stomach? A free person. A king. So it's compared to the splitting of the sea because we came from avdut, from slavery, not seeing the hope, the afikoman, which is put for later, but knowing that there is hope. That's what we're trying to emphasize. Knowing that there is hope. There is always hope. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in His wisdom, knows all the hardship that Am Yisrael is going through. He knows. Everyone's going through their own, quarrels from within. But there is always hope. And we always have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is for the best. So, hope this helps. That these dark times, we should be hopeful that just like we hide the afikoman for later, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our hope, and we're just waiting that time that Hashem saves us from this avdut leharut, from this slavery, this bondage, to final redemption, eternal redemption. And I'd like to just add, please, everyone should have all the Cholei Am Yisrael in mind, that all the Cholim and Cholot should have a Refuah Shalema, Rafat HaNefesh, Rafat HaGuf, and this Maggefa should be completely erased from the entire world, and possibly, one thing that I was thinking is, possibly what we can do is turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and tell Him, and really crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu and tell Him that we are aware that You are Melech Malcham Lechem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You are the King. Even though a lot of the world had forgotten. Even though we pray 3 times a day, it comes times that we think, the world is running. This is a huge wake-up call. Possibly we could turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, we're awake. We know You control everything. Melech Malcha Melachim, please, in Yon Rahamim, please end this chaos for all of Am Yisrael and the entire world. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. If there are any other questions, Baruchti, any other questions from anyone? Everyone's unmuted. If any other questions? No? Baruchim to you. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen.